What up, Broncos country? I'm your host, Michael. Boy, do we got a show for you today. We got the whole crew here. So I'm going to go around. I'm going to start with the Von Miller to the Buckham podcast. I don't know if we would even be here without him. Kinley, how's it going, my guy?
It's going great. Glad everybody's here, ready to get into it.
There we go. And at the bottom, we got the joke of our team. Can do it all. Man of the hour. Fanatic, how's it going?
Going well, bro. I appreciate the introduction. I love it. How about yourself, bro?
Definitely, man. I'm excited
Let's
because
go.
we got one of the heavy hitters joining us today. Listen, if we were Young Money, she'd be Nicki Minaj. Like, this is how we're rolling. We're doing good. Yes. Welcome to the show. How's it going?
It's going good. Just ready to get into the discussion and ready just to kind of chat with you guys more about the Broncos and what's going to go on this season.
All right, man. Well, we got a great show, a great topic. We're going to start it off, though. I've been rooting for the Broncos forever. I've watched them in the 90s. I watched that run game, Terrell Davis. I think we remember those guys. We can plug anybody in, and we're going to get 1,000 yards. Are we back? Are we back to that with R.J. Harvey in the backfield that we have? Is somebody going to get 1,000 yards this upcoming season? Fanatic, we'll start with you.
Yeah, the last person that rushed for 1,000 yards was Philip Lindsay in 2019, and that was almost 6 years ago. Kind of seems like a long time. But yeah, I think we're going to get 1,000-yard rusher. The player that I have rushing for 1,000 yards, honestly, is J.K. Dobbins. He had a career year last year with the Chargers, 905 yards rushing total, 4.6 yards per carry. But it kind of reminds me that he'll play kind of like the Mark Ingram role. Mark Ingram, while with the Saints and Sean Payton with his time in New Orleans, had Mark Ingram rush for over 1,000 yards twice, once in 2016, once in 2017. Just to keep that in mind. Alvin Kamara was a rookie also when Mark Ingram rushed, and he rushed for over 700 yards, give or take. And I'm just comparing that because we just drafted a rookie in R.J. Harvey. We brought in a veteran in J.K. Dobbins. So you kind of look at that. It's kind of nice to have some context as to why I think J.K. Dobbins could be that 1,000-yard rusher. It's 17 games, guys. So that he would typically have to rush anywhere from a little over 60 yards per game, if I'm being honest. And a lot of people are concerned about the injuries and this and that. But for me, I'm confident in this Broncos training staff, as they are as well, because otherwise, if it was an issue, they would not have signed J.K. Dobbins. And now we can allude to the fact, they had Drew Brees, this and that. Bo Nix could throw for 4,000 yards, and that takes away from getting that 1,000 rusher. No, you guys, it doesn't. Drew Brees in 2016 had 5,200 yards passing, his second best in his career.
Sure did.
That is wild. That was 325 yards just passing. So Bo Nix can still get his while our running backs get theirs. And I think this is the year, you guys, that we get that 1,000-yard rusher, in my opinion.
Yeah, man. Kinley, what about you, man? Same question. Are we going to get 1,000-yard rusher, and who's it going to be?
Yes, I do believe that we get 1,000-yard rusher. Fanatic hit on some great points, but I don't think it's going to be J.K. Dobbins. I think it's going to be R.J. Harvey. I mean, R.J. Harvey to me is going to get more opportunities. J.K. Dobbins doesn't have to carry the load, because of the injuries he's had in the past. So I just feel like, R.J. Harvey averaged 6.0 yards per carry in college, 43 rushing touchdowns, over 3,000 rushing yards. And the fact that the coaching staff is changing the run block scheme, which I feel will benefit both running backs, but I feel like it'll benefit R.J. Harvey more, which means more yards and everything. He's more explosive, can cut quicker. So I just feel like R.J. Harvey, to me, is going to be the back to rush for over 1,000 yards. Though I'm not saying J.K. Dobbins won't get his. I really feel like when healthy, having a 1-2 back system, like they're both going to get theirs. But I just feel like R.J. Harvey is going to be out there more. He's going to be more involved in the offense than J.K. Dobbins will.
I would take both. Okay, if they both want to
Amen.
get 1,000,
We'll take both.
Jazz,
Nice.
question to you: will the Broncos have 1,000-yard rusher, and who will it be?
Yeah, Mike, I was literally just thinking the same thing. I'll take both of them having a 1,000-yard season. I mean, that would be amazing. But I think I kind of agree with Fanatic on this one. I think it will be J.K. Dobbins. I think that because he is a veteran, we're going to lean on him a little bit more, especially while RG Harvey is, figuring out his rookie season, in the NFL. And I think that he will still have a good year, but I think that J.K. Dobbins, Sean Payton is going to use him a little bit more. He had a pretty good, productive season with the Chargers last year. I think that we are going to be run heavy this season, and I think J.K. Dobbins is going to be that back for us to get us there. I do feel that maybe next season RG Harvey will take on the majority of the load, but this time around, definitely J.K. Dobbins. I also don't. I'm not afraid about the whole injury thing because to Fanatic's point, Bo Lowry has been great, and he's been helping a lot of our players stay healthy. I think we were top 3 in healthiest teams last season, so no concerns there on my end.
All right. Well, sticking with the running game, right? And speaking of having the two backs, I watched the Detroit Lions, the way they run Gibbs and Montgomery, and it looks pretty good. It seems like they run Montgomery knowing that they want to keep Gibbs fresh, and they want to last more than 5 years. So I'll take this question to you, Fanatic. The duo that we're going to have, will we have a top 5 duo in the league?
Actually, yeah. I mean, wow. Kinley nailed it on the head. I mean, you have a dynamic duo in J.K. Dobbins, R.J. Harvey. Now, I know it just depends. It's all up to Sean Payton how, of course, he wants to disperse the touches. Will R.J. or J.K. Dobbins get the lion's share? It doesn't really matter. Because as long as the running game is efficient, but I honestly think that we can get a top 5 duo, because I listed that duo of Mark Ingram and Alvin Kamara. That's now that are they 1-for-1 players? No, but this is kind of what this duo kind of reminds me. You kind of have your slash and your power. Your thunder and your lightning, if you want to say. So yeah, top 5 duo in my opinion.
Jess, how do you feel about that? You think this is going to be the year of the running back for the Denver Broncos?
Yeah, you guys know me. I try to keep it real. I don't think so. Really, I'm going to say I don't know, right? Because there's so many unknowns. We don't know what RJ Harvey is going to look like, this upcoming season. We're thinking he's going to be a dog, but we really don't know. J.K. Dobbins, yes, we can depend on him, but top 5, that's a bit, that's a lot to put on their shoulders. But what I will say is that we will see improvement from last season's run game now, although that's not super hard to do. I just don't want to put them in that top 5 duo yet because we don't know what we don't know. So I have to see it first. Let me watch the first couple of games, and then I'll be able to get back to this one and let you know what my thoughts are.
Mistake, truthful. Kenny,
I'll say no.
Be announced.
I'll say no. I give them top 10. I think Jasmine's right. We can't really tell right now. It all depends on how Sean Payton wants to run it, honestly. But I really think we'll be more run heavy. But I definitely give them top 10 for sure. I think that's a no doubter. J.K. Dobbins does have to prove that he can stay healthy though. And yes, we do have the best training staff, in there. But still, anything can happen. And so we have to see it. We have to see it. And I know that kind of say well, how do you think that RJ Harvey can rush for over 1,000 yards? But you're saying that they can't be a top 5 duo because I said so. Okay. All right.
I want you guys to bookmark this episode too.
We're gonna bookmark this.
We'll
episode.
bookmark
I
it.
will tell you. I'm
Top
hoping.
five.
You know,
I'm
I'm
gonna be like, I
hoping.
told y'all, and you weren't listening that day. So
And
Look,
I
and
want
I
to be
hope you're
wrong. I
right.
want to be wrong.
I
You
want to
know?
be wrong.
Yeah, like and it's just so hard to go from just abysmal to top 5. You know, so let
first
me
to
look at.
last to first. It happens. I mean,
Oh,
every
it
time.
happens, but the chances of it happening. You know what I'm saying?
I guess I'm a
And
little more optimistic.
Yeah,
but
yeah, and that's
Yeah.
great. And I was also going to say
Uh,
in the
there-
line too. We have to see the scheme. So like,
Yeah.
let's see
how they
everything
gel,
works
the
out.
continuity. Do they
Exactly.
transfer over?
you got a new
How
block.
they-
I honestly think they should have ran that last season. I think it would have been better. But
Yeah.
I really feel like it'll benefit the backs, it'll benefit the line. So I'm really looking forward to seeing what can happen. That's why I'm high on the running backs. I am. I'm not even gonna lie to you. I am high on the running backs, and I'm really think that you get this feeling that they're just gonna this Russian attack is just gonna explode, and this offense is gonna explode because with that running game, it's gonna open up so many more things for Bo, and that's why we're talking about Bo being top 10 because he'll have a running game,
Yeah.
and
He's gonna
so
be-
yeah,
He'll be
he's
the one that benefits out of
the
anybody.
most.
Like,
Yeah, Bo will benefit the
a good
most.
run,
out of
a
this.
good running team, and a solid defense can ultimately just benefit your young quarterback. So
It's a quarterback's
Open up the
best.
passing game.
It's a quarterback's
there's no
best
losers
strength,
in this.
you know.
Yeah, and like I say with the O-line thing, right, with the changes of scheme, we might see some people who we thought weren't good at the O-line actually good. And a prime example is McGlinchey, right?
That's your boy.
You know how I feel about him.
Oh, you got eyes for
In
McGlinchey,
that
bro.
that scheme, in that blocking scheme, he is very good. He is very, very good.
Yes, he is.
And so
And also,
I would expect
Wattenberg
him
could
to have a
improve
great
throughout the
year.
running game. Yeah,
Yeah, this is
I would
definitely
expect them to have a great year, and I would expect people not to. So yeah, with that being said, to the next question, and I guess this is putting the puzzle all together. And Kinley, we'll start with you first. With that being said, does this running attack have a possibility to lead us deep into the playoffs, or even to a Super Bowl, or is it
healthy? You have the formula. You have the formula. You have a defense, and you have a run game, and that can get you many places with both. And so, like with the defense and the run game, both have to stay healthy. Both have to stay healthy. That is the key. Staying healthy. If you can stay healthy throughout this entire season, when we get in the dance, no telling what can happen. That's why I say this year could be a Super Bowl, because when you having those two, and all Bo has to do, like you don't have to have all the weight on your shoulders anymore. Now Bo can go out there and do more things freely because now you don't have this person sticking to Cortland. Linebackers dropping back into their coverage because there's nobody, you don't have a threat. Now you got Ingram, now you got Harvey, JK, you got receivers. Now both sitting there like, oh Lord, stuff that's open. I've never seen it before. Like I don't have to fit this into a tight window. Oh my, so yes, I definitely think with this defense and this run game that we could possibly have can lead us deep into the playoffs. I'll say that right now, deep into the playoffs.
yeah, I like that.
Yeah, same. I wouldn't. So I'm not going to say Super Bowl. That's a little bit too rich for my blood, but definitely deep into the playoffs.
Push
I
your
know.
chips all in.
Hey, listen, I want to be wrong, guys, but there's just a part of me that's just like, gotta see it, right? But I do think, to Kinley's point, with a run game and with a defense, because we all know like defenses, that's one of the biggest things you need to, to make a run in the playoffs or, Super Bowl. We know from our own experience what great defenses do. So I feel good there. I do feel that there's improvement all around. Bo has more weapons. So I think that we make it pretty far. Just not the division yet.
Fanatic?
Well, ultimately, let's be real here. It's a wait and see kind of game. I'll be honest. We don't really know what's gonna happen, right? I mean, injuries are a part of the game, but in the playoffs, it's a little colder at that time of the year.
Mhm.
Now, if you have a healthy run game that's efficient, not just gaudy or whatever, we got two running backs now that are dynamic that can, help the offense, help Cortland Sutton, It's going to spread out this offense, and potentially the Broncos can have a top 5 offense and a top 5 defense. Now, I mean, it just depends on the health, of course, which I'm fully confident in. But I think the Broncos do win the division this year, which kind of sets us up for that first round bye. I'm just saying. It sets us up for the first round bye. And you're sitting pretty to make a deep playoff run. And
Hot take.
Now that's a hot take. Oh,
Hot take.
look, Super Bowl or bust.
Okay.
That's what I'm talking
Bo
about.
Nix is him, you guys.
There
Like,
it is.
What's going on, Michael?
Straight from Michael.
I'm just seeing
Super
so
Bowl or
much
bust.
Drew Brees comparisons. That second year, he's more athletic. We talk about this all the time. He's more athletic, Drew Brees. And I was honestly watching a lot of like past film on Drew Brees. Oh my God, the way he just carries himself in the pocket. And I always ask myself, why not Bo Nix? He has the preparation. He knows the offense going into year 2. He has the continuity. So the sky's the limit for this team. Honestly, we're in a window right now, you guys. This is why we've made.
I agree.
This is why we've made the additions that we have. 86% of 80, I think it's 84% or 86% of the team is returning. Coupling that with some veteran leadership that we're adding in Dre Greenlaw and Talanoa Hufanga, that are voices in that locker room that the Niners did not want to let go. Yeah. That's a game changer, you guys. This defense is nasty. I expect a lot of turnovers. I expect a lot of sacks, and for us to wreak havoc. It's going to be a different ball game. People don't realize what's coming in the NFL.
And why did those 2 players come here? Because of Bo Nix.
Right, exactly.
If that doesn't give you confidence in your quarterback, I don't know what will.
And maybe I'm a little over too confident, but hey, if I'm right, I'm right, you guys. And if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. Nothing's ever guaranteed. The pros always get it wrong, the analysts that are so we'll find out.
Here at the Buckham, we get it right.
That's right.
Trust them and find out.
It's so hard because
here.
Yeah, exactly. No, I was gonna say it's so hard to say because again, it like we all keep saying, it depends on like the health of the team, especially on defense, guys. Like I think about Greenlaw, we need him to stay healthy. Helfonga, is that how you pronounce his name, guys? Yeah. We need him to stay healthy too. Without them being healthy or some injuries on our O-line or just like whatever, I feel like one to 2 injuries with some of our great players can cost us going deep into the playoffs. Like
That's fair.
I get a little bit worried about the depth, especially like on our offense, right? And so, it's just really contingent upon our training staff being miracle workers and us staying healthy the entire season.
Fingers crossed.
I think we have a chance. Not at the Super Bowl, but yeah.
I think we're gonna have some wins. I don't want to call blowouts, but enough where you can bench some of your guys. Some of these guys might be playing 3 quarters, stuff like that. So might save, and the less you're on the field, the less you're going to get hurt, right?
Yeah.
But we need to move on. And listen, to this next topic. I don't know if you guys watch Game of Thrones, but ever seen Jon Snow when he pulled that sword out and all the horses are coming? That's how I feel I am when I mention that Courtland Sutton is easily a top 10 receiver. I mean, it's not even controversial in my corazon at this point. Like, I've done all the research. I've been honest with myself. I looked at his pros. I looked at his cons. And so I just wanted to go over some quick stats of his that he's better.
The heart wants, Michael.
I just don't understand it. It's like, I guess I get it. I get that it doesn't look sexy, right? I get that it does not look sexy, but if you just look at the numbers, you would say that's what I want in my number 1 elite receiver. And I say he's elite because the numbers are saying he's elite. When they play him on defense, it's saying he's elite. He catches 72% of the one-on-one on the 50-50 balls.
That's insane.
72%.
Whoa, that's insane, dude.
That's insane.
And the end, and he is one of the best in the red zone. I believe he's the most targeted. I believe
Man.
he's the top 5 in touchdowns.
Look at that Bills game. I mean, Russell Wilson just threw up. I hope he's out there somewhere. Came down with it.
Yeah, you can
Dude.
definitely
Yeah,
depend on
and
Cortland
so
to come down with the ball.
the fact that, and of course I was bringing up Jamar Chase. And I'm like, yes, I would trade Cortland Sutton for Jamar Chase. I get it, but there's a lot of receivers I wouldn't. And one of the receivers everybody tells me they take over Cortland Sutton was AJ Brown, and I would, for the life of me, not make that trade because although AJ Brown is great and he does some great things, he breaks tackles, he can take it to the house, right? More than enough. I don't need that. I need someone to move the sticks. And Cortland was, I believe, third when it came to getting on third down and first downs. Like I say, top 5 in the red zone. I need a guy that I know that can count on it and has shown it over and over. And yes, there's things he can't do. Like I say, the going to the house. He's not the greatest yards after the catch, but as a coach, just catch the dang ball. That's good enough for me. Catch the dang ball. I got other plays. I can do other things. So we're gonna go around the horn here, and I want everybody to be honest. Okay, you see how I don't want to use the word sensitive, but I'm a little, it's foggy up here when people are like, no, man, like, no, I would not take Cortland. And I'm looking, I'm sideways, like, what, like, but we'll start with you, Jess, because you know how to bring me back in sometimes, and I love it.
Yeah. Okay. So here's the thing. I want to start off by saying that I also do love Cortland Sutton. I think that he has been dynamic for our room. I think that a lot of the younger players look up to him. I think we need him, right? If we were ever to trade him, I would be very bummed. But giving him top 10 receiver is just a bit much for me. I do think that Cortland, again, he's dependable. Those contested catches, he's amazing. But when we talk about elite, we're talking about like well-rounded like receivers, right? So one of my favorite receivers, CeeDee Lamb. You do the comparisons there, and you talk about just like yards after the catch. CeeDee Lamb and like players like Jamar Chase and probably even like T. Higgins. Those guys, they are probably averaging more yards after the catch than like a Cortland Sutton. And to your point, Michael, do we need that from Cortland? No. Do we just want him to catch the ball? Yes. But if we're talking about elite status, I feel like it's very unfair to give him that title when there are guys who are doing it all, like breaking tackles, clutch hands. You can play them in the slot or inside or outside, right? Like you can move them around, but to put Cortland there, just because of the consistent catches I can't do that. But I will give him top 15, top 20 ish. I do think that that's a fair status for him. But again, I do think that we need him. And I would place Cortland more so as a low wide receiver 1, wide receiver 2. I think that if we really want to just knock this thing out the park, it would have been nice if we added like that receiver, or if we went after someone in the draft, that would have been perfect. But clearly, Sean Payton has a vision that I don't see yet. So hopefully, it all works out for us in season.
Interesting that you do not see Cortland. I'd say this, that if we're in the red zone, I'm not sure I pick any other receiver but Cortland. And that's where the games run, right? Bend but don't break is how they say on defense. It's like, yeah, let them move the ball for you, but once we get in the red zone, tighten up. And so that's how the Patriots survived all those years, because they bend and never broke when it came to the red zone. Understanding that, hey, in the biggest times, in the biggest part of the games, he's going to make a play for you. And listen, I would listen. If you honestly, Man, if you give if Cortland would have had Dak all these years, oh my goodness, who knows what we're talking? Like it might be something ridiculous. You have to understand that this dude played with bums.
He
at
has.
the QB level.
And to be fair, that's such a good point. We have not seen him with the elite quarterback. Like if we would have, imagine if he would have had Peyton, right? Like, when Peyton first came over, that would have been a sight to see. But because to your point, he's played with not so great quarterbacks. I feel it does kind of dim his light a little bit. But let's see what his next season with Bo looks like. I think he can be elite.
And I got a good point to touch on now that we're talking about.
We understand.
What was that? Sorry.
Go ahead, Fanatic.
Go ahead. No, I have a good point to touch on. She's referring to Bo Nix. Like, well, we'll see what his play looks like. I want to touch back real quick in 2023 while Russell Wilson was the quarterback. And just notice the difference between Bo Nix as Cortland Sutton's quarterback versus Russell Wilson. The stats for Cortland Sutton for 2023, 59 receptions, 772 yards with 10 touchdowns. Now, he's a red zone threat. We talked about that. We touched on that. 72%, I think you said, Michael, about his 50-50 ball rate. That's phenomenal. We saw that in the Buffalo Bills game. But the difference with Bo Nix and Russell Wilson, Bo Nix, quicker release, and he utilizes the field. The Broncos offense was so limited with Russell Wilson, which is why you saw 772 yards versus now this past season that passed by, going over 1,000 yards, 1,081 yards he had, 8 touchdowns.
And Bo wasn't Bo for 4 games. Remember,
Bo struggled. Transition was.
Let's say you guys keep bringing up Russell Wilson. I'll bring up Drew Lock, Brett Rippon, Teddy Bridgewater, Jeff Driscoll. His quarterback.
Jesus.
Jeff Driscoll,
Brandon
Russell
Allen.
Wilson was, that's what he was working with, and still, it's like, okay, that's why I'm like, Jesus, if he had Dak, who knows? We might look at him a little different. And I could see why I understand why when people are like, "Nah, he's not top 10." I'm like, I know, because you're just looking at Cortland.
Top 15 for me. I agree with you guys, man. Like, he's right there.
But man, like I say, you give me the top 10 receivers, and there's maybe 1 or 2 that I only pick that I would take in the red zone over Cortland.
Yeah,
maybe.
Okay.
He's amazing in red zone.
He's awesome.
Can I also say this?
That's where the game is going to be won at.
Yeah.
The fact that that. Oh, go ahead, Kinley.
Sorry, I just want to say this. Like, some of these other receivers, they have a threat on offense. They have a tight end. They have a running game. Like, it's just Court out there.
Yeah.
Tim Patrick was his only help out there, and he got hurt. Jerry Jeudy couldn't catch a beach ball.
He was nice at getting open.
Catch cold.
That's what I'm saying. Like, and so that's what I'm saying. Like, I think Cortland, and correct me if I'm wrong, Cortland, I think, had the most first down conversions. Like getting a first down. I think he had the most. So, like, he was that chain mover. So I just wanted to say that. I really think he's underrated. And the numbers say top 12. And last time I checked, how many teams go to the playoffs? 14. Each have a number 1 receiver on the team. I mean, it looks like the math is math.
That's fair.
So that's all I want to say. Go ahead, Michael. Sorry, I want to get out. I'm here for you, Michael.
Thank
you.
Can
I ask you guys a quick question?
No, you cannot. No, you cannot unless you're going to praise Cortland Sutton, okay?
I was going to say, just quick question. Okay. With Cortland Sutton, he's our number 1 receiver because number 1, we love Court. He's homegrown. Like we just love him. We are cheering. But if he was to go to another team, right? Is he still right?
He'd be the number 1 receiver. Yes.
What team is that? Like when we talk about playoff teams, what team is he going to where he's the number 1 receiver? And
this is a great conversation. Let's go down.
It matters in the NFL, you guys.
And
Cortland Sutton can't just go to Pittsburgh and I mean, I guess
no. This is a great thing. Listen, we're going to go down the list. We'll start off on the NFC East, right? Washington might be a playoff team, you can say, right? I think Cortland would be number one on that team, right?
Over
Terry
McLaurin?
Over Scared Terry?
Yeah,
I don't know about that. I don't.
Oh man,
That's crazy. But hey,
wow, that's hot takes, man. God.
All right. Go to the next team. Go to the next
All
team.
right.
We don't have time. We don't have time to go.
Go through
Dallas Cowboys. I'll give CD Lamb the edge right there, right?
Right. I take CD Lamb. Okay.
Right.
Next.
All right. The Eagles. I think Cortland would be the number one zero on that, especially with that kind of QB, especially the way they play.
I'd take AJ Brown, bro.
Dude, same.
We don't have time, y'all. We don't have time.
All right. So okay.
I will say this.
I'm sorry for bringing that up.
I'll tell you a team. The Arizona Cardinals. All right. Anyway.
Okay.
All right. Moving on. There you go.
But hopefully y'all get my point. Hopefully you guys get my point of what I'm trying to say.
No, we get your point, like I say, but the numbers say otherwise. Is what I'm saying. Even right now on contested catches, Cortland has a 68% catch rate. That's number one in the league. So at the same time,
they're like, he just frame his body. He's 6'4", 200 and something.
At the same time, people are like, well, yeah, because he can't get separation, right? There's a give to it, but I say, well, that just tells me he knows how to play the game, and he knows how to put himself in the right.
Utilize his body to get
use your body, big body,
frame.
And box him out.
Catch radius to haul it in. Very strong.
Very.
Now, when I say take a step away from CD Lamb, take a step away from Jamar Chase, take a step away from AJ Brown, are they the same receiver? Cortland's already lost that step over the injury. Long time ago. Mm-hmm. He learned how to play the game. Everybody's like, he's getting old. I'm like, no, this guy could play to 34, 35 because he knows how to play football. He's not completely relying on his skills.
I agree.
Yeah. I just say take some of the pieces around. You know what I'm saying? Like, how does Jamar Chase do without a T. Higgins or without a run game? We've seen what Cortland.
Here's the thing.
Exactly.
Adding Evan Ingram's going to be very telling this season too.
Here's the thing. Cortland's going to prove.
That's what I'm saying.
Cortland's going to prove me right this year.
We want him to.
Yes.
So, all right.
Here's the thing.
That's the next topic. We got to move on to the next topic.
Everybody on notice. Because listen, I was the same way with Jokic. I remember when people wouldn't tell me Jokic wasn't the best basketball player for a certain time. He wasn't better than Embiid, people would say. And I'd be like, dude, like, what game are you guys watching?
Yeah.
Like, this dude was the total package. And of course,
that's the only thing.
Finally,
Jokic is always healthy.
Because everybody called me crazy. Everybody called me crazy on Jokic, and thank God he won it and did his thing.
Yes. Thank God.
So I'm expecting the same thing with Cortland Sutton next year, that he's going to do his thing. If not, I'll eat my crow, So.
And we all got thick skin. I think we can all take it all. If we are wrong, we can get the back.
I didn't want to rant that on Twitter, but moving on, okay. We got the next topic, right? The next topic, and it's business is business, right? But our DB isn't signed yet, and there's no reason to wait. Everybody keeps saying everything's good, that they're talking and the deal's gonna get done. But I'm wondering why it's not done then. If everything's fantastic, why is it not done? Fanatic, what do you think's going on over there?
Oh man, I wish I really knew. I wish I really knew behind the scenes what was really going on. But let me tell you this: I'm so damn glad that it ain't the Cincinnati Bengals situation, because it could be so much worse. It could, you know what I mean? You think it's bad right now? Look at the other situations across the NFL. With Shamar Stewart, my God, that's not a welcoming that you want to give your rookies. Let me point out a date. July 16th is ultimately when these rookies have to report to training camp, okay? We got a few weeks between then. The deal, I think, will get done by then. We have some time. Whatever's holding it back, I'm not sure. Maybe there are contingencies or what have you. These are contracts. I know there's pay scales that are involved with, between rounds and this and that. But I think it's gonna be fine. The front office has done just right by us with the way they've structured contracts. So
Yeah, there's still though. There's not too much flexibilities in these deals. They're basically should be cut and dry for the most part.
Yeah.
Some the
Yeah.
guarantee, right? They made it this way because some rookies would not get in, and so I'm like, okay, well, the NFL literally gave you all the chips on your side. Why? What's going on over here, Kinley? What do you think's going on?
Maybe he wants more money. I don't know. I know he's talked about, he wants to get his mom like, a house and stuff like that. So maybe it's about more money. But I do agree with Fanatic. I think it gets done. Hopefully it gets done pretty soon. They do report to camp July 16th. And is RJ Harvey signed? I don't know. I didn't see it. I could be wrong. I don't know. I haven't seen it. But hopefully it is. But I want to get the signing done so we can get on these extensions. That's what you want all your rookies to be signed, and then you can start working extensions for Zach Allen, Nick Bonito, and Cortland Sutton, and possibly John Franklin Myers. I want all those guys to return. We have the richest owners in the NFL. This shouldn't be a problem right now. We shouldn't even be talking about this. This should all be set in stone by now. You should have at least one of them out of the 4 extended by now. And so it went from we'll have after the draft, we'll focus on it. And here we are about to get into camp and it's still not done. So I think they need to do that before Terry signs his contract, and it may boost court like, oh, I want more now. So we need to get it done. Same thing with Nick Bonito. Price, we're in July now, so I think they can start negotiating something like that. Hopefully they get him done pretty soon. So, but pay Zach Allen for sure.
Number 1.
Yeah, and just like any man, we provide, for the household and stuff like that. So, to say that it's not on their minds, to think that they're not thinking about it, like any of us, when it comes to our job, it's on our minds, and we and the more it's not on our minds, the better we perform. So, but we'll hand it off to you, Jazz. How do you feel about the situation?
Yeah. Right now, I'm not too worried about it. I don't think it's anything to really harp on. It could be a lot of things. We just don't know. But I guess, just to, speculate, it could be him negotiating for a higher sign-on bonus, or, it could be a plethora of things. But, he showed up to, mini camp. He showed up to, OTAs. Everything was fine. I don't think he missed any days. So I think that's a good sign that this is on the right track here. So I do think that, this moves forward before training camp starts. And I think this is put to rest. But as of right now, I don't have any concerns with him not signing. I do agree with Kinley, though. Like, we want to get those those contracts out the way, so we can focus on our big boys, the people that deserve to be paid. So hopefully they don't drag their feet too much longer with this one. But I think Jaday's fine.
Yeah.
All right, man. Well, those were our topics for the day. Anybody got anything to say before we head out?
Mile High basketball is back, baby. Look at what the Denver Nuggets have done. Their window was shut, and you know what the front office did? They went and just opened that shit up real quick. We back. Nuggets basketball is back, baby. Yeah.
I thought they made some great moves today. I thought they made some great moves today.
Really good.
It's funny because I was in a space yesterday, and people are like, "Why is Jokic still on the team? They should have traded him already." Like, we need they were ready to rebuild. They were ready to rebuild. Stan Kroenke said this day was going to come eventually, or we would have to trade him. Like, you guys are tripping. Like you need to slow down.
Tripping.
So yeah, I did. I was glad to see that the Nuggets did do that. Jokic's a great player. Just put some good players around him.
Best player in the world.
Everybody needs help.
Yeah.
How's the weather? How's the weather over there in down south where you're at, Jess?
Oh my goodness, it's hot. Houston is a very humid city.
Oh yeah.
I'm from here, and so sometimes I'm just like, I understand why I moved, but then I moved to another hot place, which is Atlanta. But anyways, I guess for me, yeah, exactly. But I'm moving back to Houston this year. But I guess what I would like to say before we wrap up is I'm a huge Cortland Sutton fan. I'm cheering for him, guys. I promise. I am Troy Franklin's number one fan.
Of course, yes.
We have the best receiving group in the league, guys. Like, you know,
Mm.
no, I'm being a little, I'm being funny,
Trey
but
Franklin.
yeah, Troy Franklin, I'm his biggest fan. But what I will say is that, I'm very excited for the season. I think we're going to go very far. I do believe we have a lot of doubters. Sometimes I feel like myself, I'm doubting, but it's only because we haven't seen it yet. I want to see the first, you know, let's get through week 4 and we can really talk about some stuff. So I'm looking forward to the season. I want, you know, the Broncos to blow it out the water, and we'll see what happens.
Exciting.
Yeah,
exciting.
it's very exciting.
I'm stoked for the season. Very stoked.
Yeah,
Finley, what should we expect this week from the Buckham podcast? Blindsided us.
What should we expect this week? You know, we're gonna talk about that some more for sure. We're gonna get into some conversations, and you know, training camp is approaching, so we'll make sure to put some stuff out there for you guys, our thoughts and everything. So we'll have a bunch more stuff coming. But everybody out there watching, don't forget to like and subscribe to the page. We appreciate it. We appreciate all the loves. Help us keep this thing going. And remember, if it ain't about the Broncos,
Buckham.
peace.
Have a good one. Peace.
Hi, everyone.